Some men attract women effortlessly not because they follow a strategy, but because they embody emotional presence. Emotional presence means being fully engaged in the moment, listening with genuine interest, and responding thoughtfully instead of performing for approval. According to attachment theory, particularly the work of John Bowlby, individuals who develop secure attachment styles tend to project calmness and reliability. Women often perceive this security subconsciously. It feels safe. It feels grounding. And in a world full of noise and insecurity, emotional steadiness becomes deeply attractive without a single rehearsed line. Confidence is another invisible force that works beneath the surface. However, the kind of confidence that draws people in is not loud or dominant. It is quiet self-assurance. Psychologist Albert Bandura described self-efficacy as the belief in one's ability to handle situations effectively. Men who naturally trust their own competence do not seek constant validation. They do not chase attention. That lack of neediness creates psychological space, and paradoxically, that space increases desire. Attraction grows where there is room to breathe. Emotional regulation plays a critical role as well. A man who does not overreact, who can sit comfortably with tension or disagreement, signals maturity. Neuroscience suggests that emotional stability activates feelings of safety in others, which are processed in the brain's limbic system. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her body relaxes. Relaxation fosters openness. Openness fosters connection. The man may think he is doing nothing, but in reality, he is communicating stability at a biological level. Another subtle factor is authenticity. Humans are remarkably skilled at detecting incongruence between words and behavior. When a man says what he believes and acts consistently with his values, he reduces cognitive dissonance in those around him. Women often describe such men as real or genuine. Authenticity lowers social friction. There is no performance to decode, no hidden agenda to analyze. This clarity reduces mental fatigue, making interaction feel effortless and therefore attractive. Purpose also contributes to unconscious magnetism. A man deeply engaged in meaningful goals is less likely to orbit his self-worth around romantic validation. Evolutionary psychology suggests that perceived competence and direction signal resourcefulness and long-term potential. But beyond evolutionary arguments, purpose simply creates momentum. Momentum is attractive because it implies growth. A woman senses that she is meeting someone in motion rather than someone waiting to be completed. Body language amplifies all of these internal traits. Open posture, steady eye contact, relaxed movements, and unhurried speech patterns communicate dominance without aggression. Research on nonverbal communication, such as studies influenced by Paul Ekman, shows that microexpressions and subtle cues heavily influence perception. A man who is comfortable in his own skin unconsciously displays signals associated with status and ease. He does not have to try. His nervous system is simply regulated. Scarcity also plays a psychological role. When a man is not constantly available, not constantly texting, and not constantly seeking interaction, he creates perceived value. This is not manipulation. It is a byproduct of having a full life. The scarcity principle, widely discussed in behavioral psychology, suggests that people assign higher value to things that are less accessible. Women may interpret limited availability as high demand, which can increase intrigue and attraction. Humor, when natural and unforced, is another powerful mechanism. Spontaneous humor demonstrates intelligence, quick thinking, and social calibration. It reduces tension and builds shared emotional experiences. A man who can laugh easily at himself signals resilience and low ego investment. That emotional lightness contrasts sharply with men who treat every interaction as a performance or test. Effortless humor often emerges from comfort rather than strategy. There is also the concept of non-reactivity. When a man does not become overly excited by attention nor discouraged by distance, he projects abundance. Psychological reactance theory suggests that people resist when they feel pressure. A non-reactive man does not pressure. He allows interest to develop naturally. This lack of emotional volatility makes him appear emotionally scarce and therefore valuable. Ultimately, emotional presence and inner security form a feedback loop. The more grounded a man feels internally, the less he tries to impress. The less he tries, the more relaxed he appears. The more relaxed he appears, the safer and more intriguing he feels to women. Attraction becomes a byproduct of psychological alignment rather than conscious seduction. Social proof significantly influences attraction. When a man is respected by others, friends, colleagues, or even strangers, women subconsciously register this information. Social validation reduces uncertainty. The social psychologist Robert Cialdini identified social proof as a core principle of persuasion. If others value him, he must possess qualities worth valuing. This inference happens quickly and often outside conscious awareness. Preselection is a related phenomenon. Studies in evolutionary psychology suggest that men who are already desired by other women appear more attractive. The reasoning is simple. If another woman has vetted him, the risk appears lower. This does not mean a man must flaunt romantic options. Rather, it means being socially integrated and comfortable around women signals competence. Ease in mixed social settings communicates experience and emotional fluency. Independence further enhances appeal. A man who maintains his hobbies, friendships, and ambition signals that his identity is stable. According to self-determination theory developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, autonomy is a core human need. When a man demonstrates autonomy, he embodies a psychologically healthy state. That health is inherently attractive because it implies emotional sustainability. Challenge also plays a role in romantic chemistry. Humans are wired to pursue what feels slightly out of reach. If a man is kind but not overly accommodating, interested but not desperate, attentive but not consumed, he creates dynamic tension. This tension stimulates dopamine pathways associated with reward anticipation. Effortless attraction often stems from balanced unpredictability rather than constant reassurance. Physical appearance matters, but often less than people assume. Grooming, posture, and style communicate self-respect more than genetic perfection. A well-fitted outfit and confident walk can alter perceived attractiveness significantly. Studies on the halo effect show that when one positive trait is visible, such as good posture, other positive traits are subconsciously inferred. Effortless attractiveness frequently results from consistent self-care rather than dramatic transformation. Vocal tone and pacing influence perception as well. A slower, deeper, and steady voice signals authority and calmness. Rapid speech may signal anxiety. Humans evolved to read vocal cues as indicators of emotional state. When a man speaks without rushing, he implies he is not seeking approval. That subtle implication increases perceived value because it shifts the dynamic from pursuit to mutual exploration. Another overlooked factor is emotional mystery. Overdisclosure too early removes curiosity. Gradual revelation sustains intrigue. Psychological research on uncertainty suggests that moderate unpredictability increases romantic interest because it activates reward circuits. A man who shares layers of his personality over time feels multidimensional. Effortlessness here is simply restraint combined with self-containment. Boundaries are equally powerful. A man who respectfully enforces his limits communicates self-worth. Boundaries signal that access to him is earned, not automatically granted. This challenges transactional dating dynamics and reframes interaction as reciprocal rather than one-sided. Women often interpret strong, yet respectful boundaries as signs of maturity and leadership. Importantly, these dynamics are not manipulative tactics, but natural consequences of self-development. When a man builds competence, purpose, social networks, and emotional health, attraction emerges organically. There is no need for rehearsed strategies because the foundation is already solid. Effortlessness is often just preparation done long before the interaction. In the end, Men who attract women without trying are rarely doing nothing. They have cultivated internal stability, social intelligence, and authentic direction. Psychology shows that attraction is less about tricks and more about signals. Signals of safety, value, autonomy, and growth. When those signals are consistent, attraction becomes less about pursuit and more about resonance.